When I turned 4, I asked my parents for a bike, and I got a little sister. Then, when I was 5 and a half, I asked for a puppy, but I got 2 twin brothers. And this year, I'm going to ask for another little sister, and maybe I'll get that bike.
First National Bank, believing in the community, preparing for the future.
Hello and welcome to Press Pass Episode 10. I'm George Anderson, and joining me today is Libby Mobley of the United Way. How's it going?
Good, George. Thank you for inviting me to come and talk about United Way, and as we're trying to get our campaign finished up.
Right. From what I understand, there's a little bit of a snag this year, so we're trying to put some last-minute effort into it.
I appreciate you letting us do that. We don't know whether it's because our thermometer sign hasn't been up at the courthouse because of all the improvements going on there. We were late getting that up, and people can't see as they drive by where we are,
Right.
And so now that that's up, maybe that will help. And it may be the economy, of course, or maybe it's just that people have forgotten to do that. So we hope this is another reminder for those who haven't given yet and
Right.
can still give.
And there was an emphasis for a bigger goal this year.
Yes, we had been at 40,000 for a few years, and we have not failed to make that in the last several years. And in fact, we've made a little more, and so we've been able to give some more. We added another agency back on our list, and one that had been off for a year or two back on, and so we didn't want to decrease what
Right.
we'd been giving to the other agencies, so we increased our goal to 50,000 instead of 41 where we've been. So we're still working at that.
So other than the mailers and the donations, what other kind of events does the United Way do to kind of bring money in?
Well, we started off the United Way season in September with a booth at the fair, and we've done that a couple of years. The booth at the fair provides us a way to have a display and get attention to all those people coming in the fairgrounds in the American Legion building. And to generate even more interest, we've had a couple of raffle items. And this past year, we had a $250 gas card donation, which we've done before. We had a gun, which we've done in the past too as well. And then this year, that I think that generated a lot of attention was the iPad 2 that we raffled. So we did it at the Delta Fair, and then we did it again at the Waterfowl Festival, and that generated a little over $2,200 for that. Used to be we had the wing ding to start off the season, but that hadn't. We haven't done that for a long time because wings are so popular. Wings are more expensive now, and we weren't making any money off of that, so that was stopped. So, you know, we've done that. The month of February, we are doing the little medallions that you may see at some of the banks and some of the other areas. If you happen to see one, very nice medallion, very well done. Thank you, George. And it's just for $1 or whatever you want to give, and they're up in some businesses, and that'll be through the rest of February to try to generate a little bit more.
And that was done last year too, correct?
Yes.
And how well, do you know any figures on how well it did last year?
I don't remember what it was last year, but
it's kind of a last minute thing.
yes,
so.
it was, and they're neat, and people are used to doing these things, and so we hope you'll notice the United Way ones and give a little that way too, in addition to a regular donation.
And we'll have some here at the Democrat if anybody wants to stop in and purchase them. We'll hang them in our front windows out front.
That'd be great.
And I know my wife will be doing it at 75.
Oh, good.
Taco Bell.
Good.
Again from last year they did it. And any others?
And most of the banks.
Most of the banks.
Most of the banks.
I think I've seen some at Harris Pharmacy.
Yes, Harris Pharmacy's been doing it too for a while. And
They've kind of continued, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah, we had some medallions left over from last year, so they got some of last year's medallions, and now we've got the new ones in, and we'll get them in as many places that will accept them, and that'll be great. So look for those.
All right. Is there anything coming up? Any kind of other pushes for the last minute, other than just word of mouth? Or?
we sent out initially our regular mailing letter to the mailing list that we have of past donors and those that we think ought to have a letter and be donating. And then we did a follow-up letter in January, and that's helped a little bit. We have a lot of the members on the committee have gone to service clubs and done presentations at their churches, and we are speaking to the individual school campuses in March, because we missed our big push in the early time in August to do that when they are the teachers together. But we're gonna visit each of the campuses in March and speak there and make sure the teachers are aware.
Now, one of the big fundraisers that the United Way used to have was payroll deductions through Emerson Electric.
Yeah.
And when we lost that, a lot of money went away.
Yeah. Yes, that a lot of people, to me, even though I have donated to United Way since I've been an adult in Kennett, but I think a lot of people think that United Way raises most of its money through the businesses. And that was certainly true when we had lots of businesses and several factories. And Emerson Electric, it seemed, no matter how everybody was struggling, how the campaign was struggling, Emerson, it seemed like, okay, once Emerson and their employees came through, we made the goal.
Right.
And of course that's been a struggle since then. It's getting harder, I think, to get payroll deductions, getting a company that will do that, but there are a lot. And one thing about payroll deductions, those come through all year long, the whole campaign. And so we have, the last several years, it had extra funds by the time we start a new year. And we will usually allocate those extra funds.
Okay.
And so that's always a good thing. I don't know if that'll work this way this year, but it's been wonderful to give a little extra to the agencies we support.
Well, the reason I brought that up is I was wondering if there's any businesses out there that might see this, if they want to get involved with payroll deductions. Is there anything they need to do through the United Way?
If they will just contact our local Chamber of Commerce office acts as our clearinghouse. So if you call the chamber office, they get us the information.
Okay.
Somebody will contact, and it's basically having a human resources department that's willing to have the paperwork and take care of it.
Okay. So anybody out there that's watching and wants to get started with payroll donations, just contact the chamber at 573-888-5828 and speak with May or Sue, and they can get you set up on that.
That's right.
So.
Thank you, George.
No problem. Now, what's the percentage of the goal this year?
Where we are now, we are at a little over 32,000, about 60%, a little over 60%. And so that's for a campaign that starts in September, that wants to finish up by the end of the year and distribute funds in February, we're really behind.
Right.
So that's why I appreciate you letting us come in and speak, and it was a good idea.
Well, anything we can to get the word out, because one of the benefits of the United Way is it stays local.
It does, and the agencies we support are local or are working for us locally. Someone is working for us. We have 13 agencies this year, and not all of them get the same thing. We have various needs, and with the exception of the DARE program at South School, I think that's a 5th grade drug abuse reduction. What does A stand for?
I think it's drug abuse resistance education.
Okay, there. We fund that program completely. And so it would be really tragic if we didn't have enough funds to fund that program. But with the other agencies that we support, of course, they can't run on just United funds, Way funds alone. So it would be also bad if we couldn't, give what they request an amount we come back and say, this is what we can do, and so those amounts go into their budgets, and
Right.
they're expecting to be able to benefit from those funds, so it wouldn't be nice to get, for Kennet to not, come through with those allocations.
And a lot of those organizations are ran through donations from other organizations.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of state funding involved in that.
Right. A couple of our agencies, that we do support, you'll know that they really rely on government funds and grants. But in order to get grants, a lot of times, they need to show that they have community support. And
Mhm.
so, like Family Counseling Center, they need to show that they, that they're a United Way agency, and that helps them to get a grant. And I think probably Dunklin Day Activity Center is the same way. I mean,
Mhm.
that's, and they may use, their United Way, allocation for something extra that they wouldn't be able to do, ordinarily. Like Family Counseling built that gazebo behind their, facility out on the North
Safe
Bypass, Safe Haven, a few years ago. They were able to do that extra thing
Right.
because of the United Way fund, something like that.
And then there's also a lot of youth supported there because of Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts both.
Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts both. Boy Scouts are a part of, our local Boy Scouts are part of the Greater St. Louis Area Boy Scout Council. And Girl Scouts locally are part of Girl Scouts of the Missouri Heartland, which is a large council now. And, we have, the money you say from United Way doesn't go specifically to Girl Scout troops in Kennet, or in the same way with the Boy Scouts. It goes to support the council, who supports an employee that looks after us, and all the other programs that the Girl Scout and Boy Scout councils offer to our girls and boys, and their camps and programs and adult training and all
Goes
that
up
stuff.
and trickles back down.
Trickles back down. And I don't know about Boy Scouts, but I do know a lot about the Girl Scouts, because I've done that for a long time. Been on the board of the old Cotton Bowl Council, and then am just finishing up work on a committee for the new Girl Scouts in Missouri Heartland. I'll be through with that in March, and so that's why I'm able to do United Way next. I'm the co-chair this year, not the chair, but I'll be the chair next year, because I have a little extra time freed up from not doing the Girl Scout stuff so heavily anymore. But I do know that for Girl Scouts, the recommended percentage of funds that adults need to generate for the program is 33%. And if you think of most of the rest is cookie sales. Without cookie sales, the council couldn't exist, because there aren't enough adult-generated funds, and United Way allocations are adult-generated funds. 33% is the GSUSA recommendation. Our council has only been able to generate 15% in adult-generated funds. So it's something that adults need to give consideration to, so that, you think of Girl Scout cookies. Well, if it wasn't for Girl Scout cookies, it just wouldn't function. But it's not. It shouldn't be that way. There should be more adult-generated funds, and that United Way is one of those ways to do that. And I know people donate United Way because of because they want to support Boys and Girl Scouts, and they also give individual contributions to those councils too as well. So that's the way that functions for us.
Okay.
One of the strictly local organizations that we support is the Helping Hand facility that's through the Ministerial Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And it is our largest allocation, is Helping Hand. And we, one of the reasons why we wanted to increase our goal this year is because Helping Hand has been very busy in the last few years with the way the economy is now. They are seeing more and more people and buying more and more food, and the need is really great there. And we are significant. We think we're, for us, it's a large part of our
Right.
funds, is helping hand.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that, the people that work out there, those are volunteers, there's no
Yes,
paid salaries or anything?
currently, they are, the two women that run it all the time are volunteers.
Right.
And then there are other volunteers that work, you know, a
Mhm.
day or an afternoon or whatever, that are from various churches.
But all the money they
wherever.
receive goes to help the community, the people
right.
in the community that
That's
they
right.
can't afford to go out and get
That's
stuff
right,
on their own.
that's right. And that's a big one for us. One of the new agencies this year was the backpack program at South School.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's is a new thing the last couple of years, where they've identified children that they are worried don't have food on the weekend.
Right.
And they have food at school from breakfast and lunch, and some after school programs, I think, but they worry about them not having anything to eat over the weekend.
Mhm.
So on Friday, they pick up a backpack for them and their other siblings, and it's full of food that they can themselves open and eat
Right.
and take care of. You know, not a lot of cooking things, but things to keep them through the weekend if they need it.
Like non-perishables and stuff.
Yeah.
I talked to
Yeah.
Jennifer about that, I think we did an article when she first started kicking it off
Mhm.
as a trial program.
Yeah,
And, she was saying that there's definitely a need for something like that, so
yeah.
any assistance they get from that,
Yeah.
I know, I'm Kiwanis, and we give that, have given you that. A lot of people out there need a lot of support from the community,
And that's,
and it's
one.
agencies like the United Way that make things like that possible.
Another one that, we give to that helps people is Salvation Army, the local Salvation Army, and Migrant Whole Health Outreach is a community organization that helps people and families in many ways, and, American Red Cross, some people may know that, I believe American Red Cross, if somebody has a burn, if their house burns, the American Red Cross steps in, and that's, you know, that requires funds. When we think of American Red Cross as blood drives, and that's important, and, other disasters, in case when we have had our disaster, and American Red Cross was here
Right.
for that, and so they are one of our agencies.
I was gonna say, the community got pretty intimate with them during the ice storm.
Yeah, in many ways. Southeast Missouri Area Agency on Aging that we think of as the meals at the Senior Citizen Center, and they definitely need assistance there. The DARE program we talked about before at South School. CASA is a relatively new agency with us in the last 2 years, and that's court-appointed special advocates. And they work with children who are going through family court for no reason of their own, not their fault, but with problems the parents are having, and they are assigned an adult who will help them maneuver through that system and advocate for them, whereas a parent may have an attorney or whatever, and the child has an advocate through a caring adult. And we help fund that effort. Family Counseling Center I mentioned before. Dunklin Day Activity Center just down the street helps adults with mental handicaps and physical handicaps have a place to be during the day, and all the activities that go on there, we help fund them. I think that's all our agencies: Helping Hand, American Red Cross, Kennett Backpack Program, CASA, Migrant Whole Health Outreach, Southeast Missouri Area Agency on Aging, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, Salvation Army, DARE. Dunklin Day Activity Center and Family Counseling Center, and I forgot about Dunklin County Caring Council and their eye care program, which is what our allocation goes to, is to help the individual cancer assistance relief effort. And that is, eye care sounds better, but a lot of times when you say eye care, they think you're meaning your eyes, and so you have to clarify it's cancer. And it helps local Dunklin County people who have cancer and have trouble meeting some needs, whether it's transportation
Right.
or supplements, even helping with rent and utility, just things they need help with, as long as there are funds for, and our United Way funds go to help with that eye care program.
As far as the United Way board itself, is there a certain number of people that can be on there? Are you guys always accepting? Or?
I think we're always accepting. We try to have people from businesses, from other nonprofits, from the churches, from government people, just a general mix, even just ordinary citizens who want to come and help.
Mhm.
And our United Way board is volunteer. In a lot of places in larger cities, there'll be a United Way board, I suppose, but they also would have a paid executive director to make sure things are going smoothly and do all the work. But we are just strictly volunteer.
And that's you and Colleen right now, right?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people on the board, and everybody's good to take their turn being the chair for the year, and we, get your turn. This is gonna be my turn. I've been on for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. I would occasionally be asked to come help with wingding as the Girl Scout presence, and I would go do that. And then several years ago, they said, no, we need somebody to represent the Girl Scouts on this board. And so that's when I started really being on the board is then. And so we try to have somebody from each of the agencies on the board so they can keep us, informed of what's going on there. But also other people as well. The churches are good to provide people. And it could be just anybody that wants to do. We meet once a month, and the responsibilities are to promote United Way and go talk, and if you can do that, and help work at the booth at the fair or at the waterfowl or whatever else we do. So it's not extremely demanding.
Right.
We are very fortunate that the chamber office helps us, and we do reimburse them for things they do for us, mailings and whatnot, and that's been good. Paula Calhoun has been invaluable on taking care of the finances and the collection and the funds and doing all our financial stuff, so that's been really wonderful for her.
So if someone's interested in joining the board, do they just need to contact the chamber? Or?
We even have in the last few years had high school students, somebody from Key Club. This year Chandler Essery's our high school students on there, and that kind of keeps us connected there, and hope to get them to raise some funds through things like Mod Assembly and whatnot.
Right.
So that's been a good connection.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to give the community out there about the United Way?
Well, I just want to thank everybody that's contributed, and the service clubs that have, and the churches that have already contributed. But I want to emphasize that individuals need to come. It's an individual effort to me, and I think that I need to want to emphasize that we need individual people, not just rely on businesses to do this and the workers at businesses, but to rely on individuals to support what's going on in our community, and lots of good agencies. And I hope that if you haven't already made that donation, if you've just been putting it off and forgetting about it, that now'd be the good time to do that. And
or if you can spare it, double up.
yeah, you've already done? Yes. Oh, I need to give more. I used to have this thing before I was on the board. It was silly. It's one of those things. What's some of those things you've never said about yourself? I used to give my United Way donation was whatever year it was. If it was 1980, I gave $80. 1981, I gave $81. I would just keep increasing. That was my game for United Way. But then, since I've been on the board, it's just sort of been more than that. So
I guess when we rolled over to 2000,
then
that would have got a little
no, I didn't get
complicated.
to that at the time, yeah. But yeah, so it was just kind of silly. But if you've already given and you didn't think you gave enough, it's still time to do that. Okay. And contributions can be mailed to P.O. Box 61 in Kennett, which is the Chamber of Commerce address.
or they can be dropped off there. It's right off the Delta Fairgrounds. Sue or Matt would be happy to take that off your hands.
I will.
So I guess that's about all the time we have for today. If anyone hasn't given, wants to give, just stop by the chamber, give them a call, 888-5828. They can give you the address if you missed it.
And look for the medallions at places and
Look for the
give
medallions.
$1.
You're gonna spend $1 on soda. You might as well
Might
give
as
it
well
something
do
that's gonna
that.
be useful.
Fill up those windows.
Right. Well, I appreciate you stopping by today.
Thank you, George, for making me do it.
I don't know if I made you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you stopping
Thank
by.
you.
We do need to get some more word out about that.
Yes,
So.
thank you very much for that.
And if anybody wants to contact us at the Democrat, just stop by 203 First Street or give us a call at 888-4505 or give me an email at ganderson@dddnews.com. I guess that's all the time we have for today. So we'll see you next week.